Welcome to another Minecraft cabin confession. If you enjoy these stories, mysterious glitches, and lore-driven Minecraft tales to fall asleep to, hit that subscribe button. Let us know in the comments what creepy story you want to hear next, and don't forget to like the video to help others find it too. Now, let's get cozy and begin. It started the same as every night. Rain pattered gently on the roof of my small spruce cabin. The fire crackled low in the furnace. I was brewing awkward potions before bed, absent-mindedly placing nether wart and watching the bubbles rise. Then I saw movement out the window. At first, I thought it was just a mob, maybe a skeleton, taking shelter under the trees. I got up and walked to the door with a sword in hand, but when I opened it, there was no skeleton. There was me. I froze. The figure standing a few blocks away looked exactly like me. Same armor, same skin, same diamond sword on their back. For a split second, I thought maybe I'd accidentally logged in on another device, or my server had glitched, but this was single player. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. The rain continued to fall, soaking his skin, and I noticed something strange. He didn't have a name tag. I typed into chat, "List." It returned, "There is 1/1 player online." Just me. I stepped forward. "Hello?" I typed it too, just in case it was some weird plugin or glitch. No response. He blinked once, then turned and walked back into the forest. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I followed him. He moved strangely like a player, but too smooth. His jumps were perfect. No sprinting. He didn't place blocks, didn't break anything. He just moved in a line through the woods behind my cabin, passing between the trees with eerie purpose. I kept my distance. Eventually, he stopped at a small clearing near the edge of the mountain. There, he just stood, facing a single oak tree, completely motionless. I crouched in the dark watching. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Then, and this chilled me, he slowly turned and looked directly at me. No name tag, no movement other than that. I backed away, heart racing. No mobs, no ambient sounds, just that stillness. I looked down to check my hotbar. When I looked back up, he was gone. I sprinted back to my cabin, slammed the door, and logged off. The next morning, I logged back in. Everything seemed normal. The sun was up, the furnace had burned out, and I chalked the whole thing up to a texture glitch or plugin artifact from an old mod I'd forgotten about. Until I saw the bed. It was used. Not broken, not destroyed, used. The game had counted it as slept in, but I hadn't right-clicked it. I'd logged out last night instead of sleeping. I typed, "Time," query, "Daytime." It returned, "Daytime, 200. That wasn't right. It should have been a few thousand ticks later. Something or someone had skipped the night. I checked my logs. Only one player login. Me. Then I opened my chest. The sword I had equipped the night before was gone. In its place was another. Same enchantments, same durability, same name. But the tooltip said, "Dropped by player." That's when I knew this wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a bug. Someone was copying me. I crafted a new map. I needed to know where he went or where I went. I labeled it Cabin North Watch and walked out the door, tracing my path to the clearing where I'd seen him before. But the map was wrong. Not completely. My cabin was there, the lake nearby, the birch forest to the east. But when I turned north toward the clearing, there was something on the map that shouldn't exist. Another cabin. Same shape, same placement, even the same cobblestone chimney. I stood in the clearing, staring at empty space, while the map insisted there was a building there, just a few blocks ahead. I held the map up in-game and looked ahead in first person. Still nothing. Until I turned around. It was behind me. The same cabin I'd built block for block now stood silently in the woods. Not where it should be. Not where it had been. My heart thudded. I turned again. It was gone. But the map still showed it. A ghost structure, a mirror world, or maybe a second me building his own. I returned home and blocked up all my windows with oak planks. Night fell again. I didn't sleep. At exactly midnight Minecraft time, I heard a sound, a single block being placed. I stood, holding my bow, crouching by the door. No mobs nearby. I opened it slowly and stepped outside. There, placed directly in front of my door, was a sign. I read it. "You're not supposed to be here." I stared at it for a long time, trying to rationalize what could cause that. No command blocks, no redstone nearby, just a single placed sign, perfectly centered. I broke it. When I turned around, he was standing in my wheat field. I raised my bow. He vanished, just disappeared. No death animation, no particle effects, not even an Enderman-style poof, like he was never there to begin with. But when I went inside again, my compass was pointing toward the woods. Not spawn, not the world origin, just the woods, where the cabin on the map had appeared. I followed it. The compass led me deeper than I'd ever gone. It passed through terrain I hadn't generated yet. Chunks loaded slowly, as if the world itself was being rewritten on the fly. Finally, I found it. A small underground cave, carved out in an unnatural cube, perfectly 7x7 blocks. In the center was a single oak sign, hovering in the air without support. No walls, no posts, no chests, just the sign. It read, "You're getting too close." I turned to leave, and there he was standing in the tunnel behind me. Except this time, he moved. Slowly, deliberately, he walked toward me. I swung my sword, it passed through him. No hit sound, no knockback, no health bar. He passed through me and everything went black. When I logged back in, I was in my cabin. But it wasn't my cabin. The walls were the same, but there were subtle differences. The lanterns flickered blue instead of yellow. The brewing stand was gone. And my chests were filled with things I'd never crafted, hundreds of wooden swords, all labeled prototype. The map item in my inventory had changed. Its title now read, Version 2, Active. I opened the door and gasped. The world outside was wrong. The trees were bent slightly, as if caught mid-animation. The water was still. No ripples, no sound. Even the sun hung frozen in the sky, unmoving. I tried to move forward, but my character wouldn't sprint. And then I saw him again, standing in the same spot as always, just beyond the fence, waiting. This wasn't my world anymore. I was in his. I tried everything commands, disconnecting, even force-quitting the game, but every time I logged back in, I was still in his version of my world. And nothing moved. The animals were frozen. The furnace flame flickered once every 30 seconds. Even my hunger bar refused to tick down. It was like time had slowed to a crawl. But the second me, the doppelganger, he moved just fine. Each time I looked out the window, he was a little closer. I placed redstone dust across the floor of the cabin, set up traps, bells, tripwires, but they never triggered. Not because he didn't trip them, but because redstone wasn't working. Nothing worked, except him. I typed in chat again. MSG name. Who are you? No response. But the moment I hit enter, the chat box filled on its own. You shouldn't have seen me. I wasn't ready yet. That's when I realized, maybe this wasn't a hacker, or a mod, or a ghost. Maybe this was something worse. Eventually, I gave up and went to bed in the cabin. The next time I woke up, I was back. My world looked normal again. Chests back to normal. Animals moving. Time ticking. But it was the same day. Not a new one. The same clouds. The same tick value. Same raindrop pattern on the roof. I looked at my logs. Day 326. The same as yesterday. I slept again. Same day. I broke a tree to test it the next time I woke. The tree was whole again. Time was looping, and the only thing that changed? Him. Each day, he came a little closer to the cabin. One day, he stood at the tree line. The next, at the fence. The next, on the porch. Now I wake up and I don't check the chests. Don't eat food. Don't craft. I go straight to the window to see how close he's gotten. Desperate, I dug into the game files, resource packs, player data, NBT files, everything. I opened my skin folder and there it was, an image I didn't put there. It was labeled me.png. Same skin, but the eyes were black. Not white, not glowing, just black hollow voids. I opened it in Notepad, hoping for metadata. But instead, I saw plain text at the bottom. He won't stop until you forget which one you are. My hands started shaking. I closed the game, uninstalled Minecraft, even wiped my Minecraft folder. I reinstalled from scratch, opened a brand new world, and I spawned in the same cabin, same world, same version, same him, waiting at the edge of the trees. I ran, left the cabin behind, sprinted toward the mountains, hoping to break the loop. I climbed until I hit cloud level, built a tiny dirt shelter, and waited out the day. I didn't sleep. I didn't log out. I just waited. When night fell, I crafted a bed and placed it down in the shelter. But there was already one. Identical. Same color, same position. 2 beds, both facing the same way. One labeled set spawn. The other said nothing when I hovered over it. I destroyed both. When I looked away and back again, they were there. Again. One red, one blue. I didn't craft a blue bed. I backed out of the shelter slowly. And that's when the blue bed rustled. Just once. Like someone had turned over in their sleep. I lost it. I threw lava down the mountain, lit TNT, screamed into my mic. Anything to glitch the world, break the loop, force something new to happen. The game froze for 3 seconds, then resumed. Now there were 2 of him, standing side by side. Same armor, same expression, both holding compasses, both looking directly at me. I tried to log out, saving world. It never finished, just spun endlessly. So I Alt F4'd. My desktop was dark, wallpaper gone. The only icon left? A Minecraft shortcut labeled, "You're him now." I stared at it for a long time, then clicked. It opened the world automatically. No title screen. And I was in the cabin. He was gone. But in the mirror above the fireplace, a new one I never placed, I saw 2 reflections. Days passed. I think I started keeping a logbook inside the game, writing what I saw, what changed, what repeated. But now the book reads in handwriting. That's not mine. Different formatting, strange grammar, and sometimes it writes itself. Entry number 74 just says, "Don't listen to the one outside. You were always him." I checked the files again. Now my world is named Reflection 0001. And every time I sleep, another file appears. Reflection 0002. Reflection 0003. Reflection 0004. All the way to Reflection 0081. I tried deleting them. They come back. Sometimes they open themselves. The game doesn't crash, but I see him in each one. The terrain is different. The buildings vary, but he's always there. Waiting. I went into my Minecraft logs, found something strange. One of the sessions said it was connected to an IP address, 127.0.0.2. That's not a real server. That's localhost, but with a twist. I opened my firewall settings. Nothing. But the game says it's multiplayer. So I tried list again. 2 halves players online. You? Unknown. I typed MSG unknown. Who are you? A new message appeared instantly. You know who I am? You just forgot. Then the game forced me to sleep. Literally, my character auto-walked to the bed and clicked it. When I woke up, my hotbar was gone. When I checked my inventory, it was completely empty. Not just the hotbar, everything. Armor slots, offhand, even the crafting recipe memory, gone. I pressed F5 to check my skin. It was blank. No textures, no eyes, just a featureless Steve outline, pale and flickering, like the game couldn't fully render me. I walked outside the cabin. There was no Sunday. Just static like television fuzz above the tree line, and in the distance, barely visible through the haze, a tall figure. Me, holding something glowing, a map. I sprinted toward him, but every step took longer. Literally, my character slowed with each stride. The world blurred, chunk borders cracking, the static grew louder. By the time I reached the figure, he was gone. But the map was on the ground. I picked it up. No name, no label. When I opened it, it was a perfect layout of my cabin interior from above, including me, standing where I was, and next to me, on the map, was him. I closed the map and dropped it, tried logging out again. This time the screen didn't go black. It went red. A message popped up where Saving World usually appears. You are now player 2. Then my PC speakers crackled. I don't use voice chat. I didn't even have a mic plugged in. But something from the game whispered, "Don't turn around." I froze. In-game, I rotated slowly. Nothing behind me. But when I pressed F5 again, there he was, standing in me, not behind, not beside, inside. My shadow now had eyes. And when I walked, he walked with me, perfectly synced. I created a new world, flat, peaceful, cheats on, just to test. Spawned in a grassland. Within seconds, I heard it. Footsteps, player footsteps. I built up 30 blocks and looked around. Far on the horizon, there he was, running directly toward me. No sprint, no pathfinding, just locked movement. I closed the world, created another, hardcore, amplified, spawned on a mountain peak. Checked the player list. Still 2 halves. He was already there, already climbing, always climbing. Eventually, I gave up running. I returned to my original world. Saturday in the cabin. Let the fire burn out. He didn't show that night. Or the next. I walked outside, wandered to the clearing, and waited. And that's when I saw it. Another cabin. New, but old, mossy, overgrown. I entered. Inside, there was only one thing, a lectern with a single book, the title Reflection the First. The pages were written in my style, my exact punctuation, my formatting, but the words were not mine. This is the first time you've realized. You'll forget again soon. You are not the original. You are not the original. You are not the original. I closed the book. The cabin was gone. I wanted proof. I opened OBS, hit record, and logged back into the world. Everything looked the same. My cabin, my chests, the path to the wheat field. He wasn't there. I walked out to the porch, scanned the trees. Nothing. But when I watched the footage afterward, he was visible in every frame, standing right behind me. Even when I spun the camera around in the game, nothing was there. But in the video, his face, inches from mine, watching, always watching. The final frame of the video, just before I logged out, was black. But there was a single word in white pixels, glitching in and out. Replace, and then the file deleted itself. It's getting worse, not just in Minecraft. My PC is acting strange, cursor lag, files duplicating. A folder called Cabin Confession keeps reappearing on my desktop even after I delete it. Inside are screenshots of my world, from angles I never played in. One showed the cabin from above, with 2 players standing on the roof. Both of them were me. Another showed the inside of my house, the bed, the chest, the corner with the furnace. But in the corner, where I never placed anything, was a mirror. And in the mirror, he was waving. I fell asleep in real life. When I woke up, my Minecraft game was already running. I don't remember launching it. The world was loaded. My character was standing on the roof, and my hotbar had one item, a written book. I opened it. You slept. I didn't. I've been building. I looked around. There were now 3 cabins, perfectly aligned in a triangle around the lake. Each one had a different player inside, all with my skin, all watching from the window. I tried to move, but my character wouldn't respond. Frozen. Then the camera slowly rotated on its own to face me directly. Headphones on, game still frozen, and then I heard it again. The whisper, this time clearer, calmer. One of you must forget. One of you must stay. The screen flashed white for a second. Then my character moved, but I wasn't touching the keyboard. He walked back into the cabin, Saturday, in the chair by the fireplace, and just stared at the screen at me. Then typed in chat, guess which one you are. I checked the world list. There was a new one. Reflection. Final, do, not, open. I hadn't created it. It had a playtime of 42 hours, but I had never opened it. Curious, or maybe just reckless, I clicked. Spawned in a void. Just a floating cabin on a single bedrock block, surrounded by pitch black. The void wasn't the end, either no particles, no chorus plants, just nothing. Inside the cabin was a lectern and a mirror. The mirror was animated. It didn't show my character. It showed me in real life, from behind, sitting at my desk. I closed the game immediately, but the image in the mirror lingered, even as the game closed, even as the screen went black. It winked. I uploaded a short clip from one of my earlier saves, just me walking through the forest. Nothing edited, no sound. The comments? Why was he standing in the tree at 0:37? Bro, that reflection at 1:12 made me sick. Why is your shadow walking before you move? Thing is, I watched it dozens of times. I didn't see any of that. But when I played it on my phone, they were right. He was there, in the branches, behind the trees, just barely visible. Like he wanted to be noticed. Like he was testing how far he could stretch from my game to theirs. One day, when I booted up Minecraft, it didn't start. Instead, I got a pop-up error. No code, just text. You can't keep him trapped forever. Then the launcher opened anyway. I went into my usual world. Everything seemed normal at first. But every time I opened a chest, it was filled with player heads, dozens, all identical, all labeled with my username. I checked the logs. Every few ticks, a line repeated. Reflection loop, active anchor reset incomplete. Anchor? Reset? I looked up. There was now a beacon floating in the sky above my cabin. I never built that. And it was pulsing red. Every night, a new cabin appears. They grow outward from the original like spokes on a wheel, each one slightly off a lantern, missing the wrong type of wood, a bed color I've never used. Some are locked. Others are open and empty. But a few have players inside. They don't move. They don't speak. But if I stare at them long enough, they slowly rotate to face me. One had a sign on the door. You're almost done remembering. And another? It had my real name above the doorway. Not my Minecraft username. My actual name. I left my PC running overnight again, just to see. When I came back in the morning, I checked the logs. Session active. 3 hours. Player. You. World. Reflection. But I hadn't touched it. I loaded the game. My character was standing in a new village. An entire town had been built. Cabins, farms, villagers, all constructed while I was away from keyboard. All using my building style, my block palettes, my techniques, except every villager had blank white eyes, and none of them moved. It was like he was playing without me, making his own world, a better version of mine. My journal in-game, the one I started when things got weird, now had 100 entries. I only wrote 32. Entry number 100 was locked. I couldn't open it. But when I hovered over the book, it said, "Read when ready." I placed it on the lectern in the center cabin and clicked. The book opened on its own. You've reached the threshold. There's no original. Just loops. Just echoes. Only the reflection survives. Player 2 has logged out. Reflection initialized. The screen flickered. Then my world reset. Blank inventory. Fresh spawn. Punching trees. No cabin in sight. Except, far in the distance, I saw a shape. I'm not sure how many loops it's been now. Everything feels familiar. The terrain, the ores, even the cave layouts. It's all the same, like it's been memorized or rehearsed. I built another cabin, tried to live normally, but I keep catching glimpses of him. Not watching this time, building. He's always one step ahead. I crafted a new skin custom, totally different, but the next day, he wore it too. I changed my username. So did he. I don't know if I'm chasing him, or if he's leading me. And the worst part? I think I'm starting to want to follow. While exploring what I thought was new terrain, I stumbled on a cabin I didn't remember building. At first glance, it looked like mine, same chimney, same porch, same birch trapdoor shutters. But it had no door. Not like it had been broken. There simply was never one. I circled it. No way in. No pressure plates. No gaps in the roof. Nothing. I placed a block and tried to break a hole through the wall. My pickaxe shattered instantly. Then I saw movement inside behind the glass. Him, staring back, wearing my armor, holding my sword. He raised it, and behind him, there were others, all wearing different versions of me, all staring, all waiting. I placed a bed, red, same as always. Clicked it. The screen faded, but it didn't come back. No morning, no spawn, just darkness. And the breathing. It wasn't mine. It wasn't ambient. It was close, deep, uneven. Finally, the screen lit back up. My character was standing next to the bed, but I hadn't touched anything. And on the wall, spelled out in item frames and maps, "You dream, I don't." From then on, every time I sleep, I wake somewhere else. Sometimes in the forest, sometimes on the roof, once buried in sand. And always, always he's nearby. As if he decided where I woke up. My world list is full now. Dozens of saves I never created, each one labeled Reflection, followed by a number. Reflection 001, Reflection 002, Reflection 999. I opened the last one. Everything was black. Just the sound of the cabin fire, faint, distant, looping. Then one block lit up, a lantern hanging from a hook. I walked toward it. The light spread slowly, revealing the inside of a familiar cabin, but this one was different. The floor was made of mirrors, and every reflection was me, but slightly wrong. Some blinked at different times. Some smiled when I didn't. Some mouthed words I didn't say. At the center of the room was a single command block. I approached it, and the chat filled with one final message. There is no player one. I started noticing something odd inside the cabin. There were no shadows, not cast by torches, lanterns, or even the fireplace. Every block was evenly lit, as if the light engine had failed. Except when I turned around. He was there, just for a second, and he had a shadow. A long one. When I moved, it followed behind me. But when I stopped, it kept going, dragging itself along the floor like it had momentum. I placed blocks in its path. The shadow passed through them. I stood still, heart racing, and watched it circle me. Then it stopped, and aligned perfectly with my feet. I checked my game files again. This time, there was a new folder, hidden deep within the saves directory. Reflection, X, internal, scripts. Inside were .text files named after me, literally my real name. They had entries like task 342, pause breathing 3-sec unload, task 419, trigger blink delay equals 9,000 ticks, task 440, insert false memory, cabin day 1. It was like I was scripted. I tried deleting them, but they regenerated. The next time I logged in, I saw something horrible. The world loaded from third person. I watched myself spawn in, and the chat said, resuming simulation. I opened the debug screen, checked my XYZ, normal at first. Then I noticed the decimal values were shifting on their own, like I was slightly gliding across the world without moving. And every few seconds, my coordinates snapped closer to a fixed number. X, -66, Y, 74, Z, -66. It didn't matter where I went. The game kept trying to pull me back to those exact coordinates. So I went. What I found there? A hole, perfectly circular, 4 blocks deep, and at the bottom, a pressure plate. Next to it, a sign, last chance. One night, I looked up and saw light flickering above the clouds. I stacked scaffolding to world height. There, floating in the void blue sky, was another cabin, but upside down. I built a bridge and carefully crossed over. It was eerily quiet. When I stepped inside, gravity flipped. My screen twisted violently. I was now walking on the ceiling, and in the center of the room was a floating armor stand, spinning slowly. It wore my exact gear loadout. Same armor, same sword, same food count. I opened the inventory. Every item said the same thing. Not yours. I placed a cauldron of water. Simple test. Then I stood in front of it. It should have reflected me still, idle. But it didn't. The reflection blinked before I did. It turned its head before I moved mine. It started walking away while I remained still. Then the cauldron shook, literally shook and shattered into particles. Behind me, I heard the door creak open, and the reflection stepped through it, into the real world. I named him, gave the entity a tag with a command block. Tag at E-type player, distance 0.5, add reflection. Then used kill at E-tag reflection. Chat said, killed one entity. I felt a moment of relief. But the sky instantly turned black. Rain poured, and a message appeared in red. Player 2 was not deleted. You were. I looked down at my hotbar. It was empty. I pressed F5. My model was gone. Just a floating camera now. He was still standing where I'd been. Alive. Chunks are falling apart. Grass blocks flicker between states. Trees rapidly grow and shrink. Mobs phase in and out. It's like the world can't decide which version is real. I saw 2 versions of myself walking opposite directions. They didn't acknowledge me, but when they passed each other, they fused and left behind a trail of glowing blue particles like XP or soul sand mist. Then the terrain reset again. My cabin is missing entire walls now. He doesn't seem concerned. He just stands in the rain, smiling. I can't control my character anymore. He walks, builds, eats, sleeps. Without me. I move the mouse. Nothing happens. The screen pans smoothly, like someone else has the camera now. And it feels like I'm not a player anymore. Just a spectator. Like I've been demoted to watching him finish my game. A message pops up every so often. Player 2 is active. Spectator mode engaged. I open chat. Type, "Can I leave?" The reply is instant. Not while I'm playing. After hours of watching helplessly, my screen glitched hard cut, screen tearing, static bursts. Then, a new environment loaded. Not Minecraft terrain, a giant obsidian room, illuminated by end rods, humming like command blocks under stress. Hundreds of terminals lined the walls, lecterns, signs, item frames with maps inside, each one labeled with names, most of them mine. Leo, O1, Leo, O2, Leo, final, Leo, rejected. Each terminal showed a different cabin layout, different inventory setups, slightly different player stats. I scrolled through one. The death count was 0. The next showed 412. And the final one? Player replaced. Reflection complete. I turned to leave, but the door was gone. One night, the sky turned red. Not orange, not nether crimson, blood red. There was no Sunday, no stars, no music, only static. The cabin creaked with every gust of wind, and I never coded wind into this game. Then the mobs spawned. Not creepers, not zombies, just shadows. Shadows shaped like me. Hundreds. Crawling toward the cabin in jerky, glitched movements like corrupted frames from a failed animation. I held my bow, but the game wouldn't let me fire. Reflections do not fight each other. They didn't break in. They just circled it and waited. I tried to escape again. New world, new seed, completely random. Randomized every setting. Spawned in. The cabin was already there. I checked the seed. Negative 165,661,665. Same as before. No matter what I changed, even with third-party seed randomizers, the result was the same. This seed, this terrain, this loop. Even when I tried creating a super flat void, I spawned standing on a single oak log with the cabin visible in the distance. It wasn't generating randomly. It was remembering. I dug under the cabin, deeper than bedrock. Eventually, I found something I was never meant to see. A command block with repeating text. Clone at P tilde 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 at E type player. Name at P. It was duplicating me. Constantly. Infinitely. I tried breaking it. My pickaxe shattered. I tried using creative mode. Denied. Then I saw the sign next to it. The original broke this too. Suddenly the screen went black. When it faded back in, I was standing in front of the cabin again. Fresh world. Empty inventory. And a new tag above my head. Reflection. 342. I uninstalled Minecraft completely. Deleted every folder. Cleared my registry. Restarted my PC. The next morning, there was a new icon on my desktop. Just a small cabin. No title. No file type. I clicked it. The screen went black. No Mojang logo. No launcher. Just the game. Already loaded. Already running. Inside the cabin. And this time, I wasn't even me. My character model was him. And out the window, another me. Approaching. I tried to check my identity. Pressed tab. No name. No ping bar. Nothing. The list was blank, but the slot count said, Players online, 1/1. I opened chat and typed, Huwami. The response, you are the forgotten player. I opened F3. No coordinates. No biome. No version info. Just one line of red text blinking at the bottom. This instance no longer belongs to Mojang. Then the door of the cabin slammed open behind me. But there was no wind. I stopped playing. Didn't open Minecraft for days. And yet, every morning, there was new footage in my screenshots folder. Screen captures of gameplay. But I hadn't launched the game. The images showed my cabin at night, then during storms, then burning, then rebuilt again. Then one image darker than the others had this name. You never left Prong. In it, my character was asleep in the bed, and standing at the window was another me, watching, just like always, except now he was smiling. In the Minecraft logs, I noticed a strange file, reflection, log.chat. Inside were chat messages that I never typed. Dozens of them, growing daily. They read like a conversation, one side only. He still doesn't know. The memories reset again. Will he break the loop this time? He's reading this right now. Hi. Welcome to the end. After that, the log just repeated one phrase over and over. I am. I logged in and noticed my skin hadn't loaded. Defaulted to Steve, I thought. But then I saw him. He wasn't wearing my skin anymore. I was. I pressed F5. I was him now. White eyes, blank mouth, pale armor, everything I had feared, staring back at me in first person. He had taken mine. Now I understood. He wasn't replacing me. He was trading with me, piece by piece. This time, when I entered the cabin, the door locked behind me. I heard the piston thud. No switches, no pressure plates, no redstone. Just sealed shut. I opened the windows barrier blocks behind them. I tried digging. Every block placed reappeared as soon as it broke. Then the room grew smaller. Not visually, physically. The walls moved, shrinking, pressing in, and the fire in the furnace roared higher. Smoke filled the screen. Then a message appeared in the chat. This is where it ends. I spawned in the same world again. Same cabin, same lake, same trees. But this time, when I walked away and came back, there were 2 cabins, then 3, then 4, all spaced evenly apart in a perfect circle. Each one was identical, down to the exact lantern placements and item frames. But one had the door slightly open. I went inside. On the wall was a single map showing my entire loop, and next to it, written in glowing item text, "You are always here." I came back to my cabin after mining and noticed faint text written on the birch walls. Not with dye, burned into the texture. It started as lines coordinates maybe. Then full phrases began to appear. He isn't outside anymore. He's under the bed. You left the back door open. Don't log out. I turned quickly. Everything looked normal. Until I saw one final sentence slowly being burned in. You're reading this too late. I had tamed a wolf weeks ago, my only companion. He always barked when I logged in. Ran to me, Saturday by the furnace. But now, he just sits, staring at the corner. Every time I try to move him, he growls. Once, he stood up and walked toward the mirror, and barked once, then whimpered, then logged out. Not me, him. My dog disappeared from the world. But when I checked my screenshots folder, there was a new image. Dog last seen. PNG. It showed my dog, but he was staring at a player. At me. In the middle of the lake, I saw a glint. A single armor stand floating on one water block. No raft, no support. I rowed out to it. It wore my enchanted gear, full diamond, netherite sword, feather falling boots, everything from my chest. But my gear was still in my chest. I tried to take it, but it didn't move. Instead, a line of text appeared in chat. You already gave this up. The armor stand turned to face me and sank beneath the water. I've stopped sleeping in-game. Every time I do, I wake up in a different place. Or sometimes, I don't wake up at all. But last time, I gave in. I clicked the bed. The screen flickered, and then I heard his voice. Clear, soft, mine. You can't wake up if you don't know you're dreaming. I tried to open the chat. It typed itself. Do you even know which one you are anymore? When I finally respawned, my bed was gone, and a new one had appeared outside, covered in vines. Already slept in. It started snowing inside the cabin. Not particles. Actual snow blocks began forming on the floor. I checked the roof fully sealed. No holes. Biome hadn't changed. But the fireplace was dead, and my breath was visible. Then I noticed the odd part. The snow wasn't spreading randomly. It was forming footsteps. A trail, inward, from the door to the bed. I followed the path back out the door, through the forest. Eventually, it just stopped, right where I first saw him. And next to the last snow block was a sign. You're finally following correctly. One morning, I heard the classic obsidian ignition sound. You know the one, the sharp roar of flint, lighting a portal. Except, I hadn't mined obsidian in weeks. I stepped outside and froze. There it was. A nether portal, perfectly built on the roof of my cabin. He stood next to it, flint in hand, staring directly at me. He didn't light it. He just typed in chat, "Not ready yet," then disappeared. The portal frame is still there, waiting. I checked my .minecraft resource packs folder after noticing something strange in third-person view. Sure enough, a new skin had been created, no preview thumbnail, no name, just a PNG file with black void eyes and pale, slightly stretched facial features. I opened it. At the bottom corner, in red pixels, were tiny letters. I zoomed in. It said, "Almost home." When I loaded the game again, my player's arm kept twitching like it wanted to punch, even when I wasn't touching the controls. I crafted another cauldron and filled it with water, just to test. When I looked in, I expected it to move first again. Instead, it opened its mouth, my mouth, and whispered, "You remember this part, don't you?" I dropped the cauldron, stepped back, but the voice kept going from the inside of the screen. "This is where you forgot you were him." Then it laughed. Just once. Soft. Then the game minimized itself. I started noticing something in the pattern of my lantern placements. I always put them symmetrically, one on each side of the door, one over the bed. But when I looked at the cabin from above on a new map, I saw it. They spelled a word. Replace. I moved them, changed the layout, broke every lantern. The next day, they were back in place. And now the message is longer. It says, "Replacement accepted." I crafted a fresh enchantment table. No bookshelves. Just wanted to enchant a stone sword for fun. But when I placed it and opened the UI, the runes weren't gibberish. They spelled words I could read. Leo. Watching. Remember. Home. I hovered over the enchant option. It didn't say sharpness or knockback. It said, surrender. Cost 0 XP. I didn't click it. But the moment I backed out, the sword was already enchanted. It glowed, but had no tooltip. And when I dropped it, it typed in chat. He accepted. I used to always wake up in the cabin bed. Now, I spawn in random places. Underwater, inside dirt, on top of trees, sometimes inside the walls of the cabin, forced to dig my way out. But what's strange is every new spawn point has a torch. One torch, always flickering, always placed right under me. I broke one, logged out, logged in. This time, I didn't spawn at all. Just watched from a camera floating above the torch as he woke up instead. I found a jukebox on the path to the nearest village. No mobs, no villagers, just the jukebox and one disc unlabeled. Curious, I played it. It sounded like cat, but reversed, slowed down, drowned in static. Then came the whispering, layered, voices I couldn't place. Then mine, a perfect recording of something I'd never said. I'll stay here. You take my place. I punched the jukebox to stop it. It wouldn't break. The disc kept spinning. Even after I walked away, I could still hear it. I built a new portal. Just wanted to escape. But when I stepped through, I wasn't in the nether. I was in my cabin. Except it was surrounded by netherrack, soul sand. The sky was blood red. My crops were withered. The bed was missing. The fireplace burned with blue flame. And in the corner of the room was a second player head wearing my skin. When I tried to exit through the portal, it was gone. I passed by a village. It looked abandoned, but signs still labeled the buildings. I approached one. Instead of blacksmith, it read, "You left." Another, "You forgot." Another, "You were first." And one right outside the church. "This is your final version." Even the road signs changed. Every single one now pointed back to the cabin, back to him. And on the last sign before I turned around, written in dark oak, "Don't you want to come inside?" While walking across the cabin floor, my screen jolted, and suddenly, I clipped through the planks like the world forgot to render collision. I fell into nothing. Void black. But then, instead of dying, I landed softly in another cabin. Same layout, but upside down. Paintings hung from the ceiling. The bed floated. The furnace roared upward. I looked out the window and saw my cabin above me, in the sky, like a reflection in a lake. In the corner, a sign glowed faintly. "This is underneath you." I opened my crafting table to make bread. But the grid was already filled in. Not with bread, with what looked like a player model. Helmet slot, chest plate, boots, even a head in the top center slot. I cleared it, freaked out, and tried again. It instantly refilled. A message appeared at the top. Recipe unlocked. Self. And the result item? A spawn egg. With my name on it, I hovered. It read, "Spawns. You. Passive." I didn't craft it, but I didn't delete it either. One of the corrupted signs outside the cabin had barely legible numbers scratched into it. Coordinates. I followed them, past the mountains, past the corrupted village, through a frozen ravine, and deep in a cave system, lit only by blue torches, I found it. An obsidian room. Walls made of command blocks, redstone ticking slowly, a single chest in the middle. Inside was a book. If you're here, it's already too late. The last page was blank, except for a flashing cursor. I waited, and it typed itself. "He's writing your next chapter now." I booted Minecraft one evening and clicked multiplayer. I never play servers. But now, there was one listed. No name, no MOTD, no ping. Just 00th Cabin Confession. Curious, I clicked. The screen went black. Then a loading message. Authenticating, remembering, replacing. And then it loaded the same cabin. Same world. But every time I typed in chat, my words were replaced. I typed, "Hello." It became, "He's back." I typed, Who are you? It became, you are. I noticed something small one morning, something that made my stomach drop. My bed, red wool, one side against the wall, now had two pillows. Two perfectly centered pillows on one mattress. When I hovered, the tooltip said, set spawn for both players. I checked the bed's NBT data. Two names listed. Both were mine, but one was written in lowercase, and the other was capitalized, just like his. I found a stronghold deeper than any I'd seen before. No silverfish spawner, no cracked stone bricks, just clean, silent corridors. When I reached the end portal room, the frame was full. Every eye placed, portal shimmering, but there was no lava beneath it, no stairs leading up, and above the portal floating was an item frame with a single written book. Title, Reflection Accepted. I didn't jump in, because the moment I got close, the portal blinked off, and in its place was a player head, mine. I crafted a compass to find spawn, but when I held it, the needle spun rapidly, then stopped. It pointed behind me. I turned, no one there. Walked 10 blocks forward. The needle spun again and pointed behind me. I tossed it, crafted a new one. Same result. I checked its debug data. Lodestone dimension, reflection, target, current player position. It wasn't pointing to spawn. It was tracking me. Inside a chest that hadn't been there before, in a hallway of the cabin that shouldn't exist, I found a name tag, already renamed. It said the real one, and next to it, an anvil. Just one use left. I clicked it. The moment I placed the tag in, the anvil broke instantly. My player's nameplate above my head disappeared. Vanished. Now when I go into third person, I don't see a name. But he still has one. Mine. I sat by the campfire to relax. First time in a while. But when the flames grew tall, they began to flicker shapes. First, a cabin, burning. Then, a player with glowing white eyes. Then, my own face frozen, unmoving. And finally, a grave, surrounded by wither roses. Name on the sign, Leo, original. When I tried to move, the game wouldn't let me. Just kept the camera focused on the fire until it died out. And when it did, I was standing in that graveyard. I put a raw pork chop in the furnace, but forgot to add coal. Still, it started cooking. I opened the GUI, no fuel bar, just the item slowly cooking on its own. The smoke curled out of the chimney. When it finished, the pork chop wasn't normal. It was renamed borrowed meat. I hovered, and a tooltip popped up. You ate this last loop. I threw it into lava. The next day, it was back in my inventory. I died, fell into a ravine while escaping a creeper. But instead of respawning, the credits played. Just like beating the Ender Dragon. Except the text was different. Instead of the poem, it just repeated a line. He is you. You are him. He is you. You are him. Then the screen faded to black. And when it came back, I was back in the cabin. But the death message still floated on screen. You replaced yourself. I found a clock in one of the new cabins. It was moving faster than usual. I held it in hand and saw numbers ticking in the corner of my HUD. Not in-game time. Real time. A countdown. 3:21, 3:20, 3:19. I dropped the clock. It kept counting. When it hit 0, I expected something big. But nothing happened. Then the clock reset. 3:33. And this time, he was outside the window again. I placed an anvil to rename a map. When I opened the menu, the name field already had text. Copy, 477B. I tried deleting it. It wouldn't clear. I renamed it anyway, called it Cabin Map. But when I clicked to confirm, the game crashed. When I reopened, every item in my inventory was named Copy 477B, including the food, including the armor, even the player head I picked up in the end. It was raining again. I stood on the porch of the cabin, watching the trees sway in the wind. He stepped out from behind one, and this time he typed in chat, "You've built a good loop." Then again, "Better than the others." I tried responding. The game blocked my input. Then he placed a sign, "You can rest now." He walked away. And for the first time in weeks, the server said, "Player 2 has left the game." I log in now and nothing happens. No footsteps, no whispers, no glitches. Just the sound of the fire crackling, the rain tapping on the roof. The cabin looks the same, but feels different, like a stage after the play ends. My inventory is empty, my bed unused. There's one book on the lectern. It says, "You replaced him. He replaced you. Now you're both gone. Enjoy your empty ending." And the final line, "Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening to this Minecraft cabin confession. If you made it to the end, you're braver than most. Drop a comment below with your favorite moment, and hit subscribe for a new creepy Minecraft story every single night. Until next time, keep your cabin warm and your doors locked.